You are looking at an accident waiting to happen. The place, Vietnam. Dust doesn't seem as deadly as Viet Cong bullets, but it can be. A helicopter pilot landing or taking off with his vision badly obscured can end up like this. Two aircraft have collided during a dusty takeoff with fatal results. There is, however, a positive side to this scene, since at least 4 life-saving lessons can be learned from it. First, try to avoid landing or takeoff areas with unfavorable conditions, such as dust. Second, if you are forced to take off or land in heavy dust, spread out your formation. Third, when landing or taking off in dust, to avoid disorientation, maintain visual contact with the horizon as long as possible. Fourth, if dust obscures the horizon, look down between your feet where the rotor wash will keep a small area clear. This is true of most helicopters, including the UH-1Ds involved in this accident. These are lessons learned the hard way, but they can be used to save lives and help win a war. And that is what this film is all about. Since September 1965, when the 1st Air Cavalry Division entered the Vietnamese conflict, Army air mobility has become far more than a concept. At the 1st Air Cav's base at An Khe, Major General Harry W.O. Kinnard, the first commander to lead the Air Mobile Division into combat, explores some of the division's experiences, techniques, and tactics.
The real enemy. Our aerial cavalry has been able to find the enemy. Our aerial engineers, moving by helicopter, have been able to move to the most inaccessible places and build landing zones for our helicopters and even landing strips for fixed-wing aircraft as large as C-130s. Our tube artillery has been able to move in our large Chinook helicopters into inaccessible areas completely devoid of roads, and to set up there and provide support for our infantrymen, so that when the VC fire at our infantry with their rifles, the response which they receive from us is with a volley of 105 millimeter artillery. Our aerial rocket helicopters have worked out extremely well. Our communications have done extraordinarily well also. In short, all of the things which we developed in the testing period in the United States have worked in combat.
Yes, as General Kinnard says, helicopter operations have proven themselves under actual combat conditions. It is certain that doctrine formulated during many months of development and testing has in most instances been strengthened in Vietnam. At other times, however, some refinements or revisions have been found necessary. Whether strengthened or refined, all air-mobile doctrine is being subjected to intensive study during the Vietnamese fighting, with many observations and recommendations received from unit commanders and those in higher echelons. These are evaluated, and one result is a series of lessons learned in Vietnam. Perhaps the best way to present some of them is to follow a typical helicopter operation from beginning to end. However, because all scenes shown are actual combat footage, there will be some inconsistencies as personnel and various aircraft of different units are intermingled. Like most operations, this air-mobile assault begins with a series of briefings, such as this operational order for pilots and other officers involved. Because missions differ so greatly from day to day, briefings have proved especially critical in Vietnam. Pilots must also brief their crews. Door gunners and crew chiefs who act as door gunners in flight must be trained to work as a close-knit team with pilots and co-pilots. The search and destroy operation really begins as troops prepare to load aboard the assault helicopters. This introduces what is perhaps the most basic lesson learned during helicopter operations in Vietnam, that every possible means should be taken to ensure that the troops will be ready to fight at their most proficient level the instant they hit the ground. To help achieve this, there are many techniques to keep in mind during the loading phase. One is to plan for the troops to board the assault helicopters so as to maintain small unit integrity. Another means of achieving maximum combat readiness is to avoid risking all or most of the company's machine guns and mortars by loading them in one or two aircraft. However, components of a single mortar or machine gun should be loaded in the same aircraft. Boarding should be planned so that the first man off each helicopter will be an automatic weapons man. This will provide a heavy volume of fire at the earliest possible moment. As the assault helicopters take off and head toward the LZ, we come to a lesson learned that has brought about a refinement of original doctrine. It is basic doctrine that the commander of an air-mobile company should take the position which will give him the best possible control of the formation. The refinement suggested by operations in Vietnam is that this position very often should be the last ship of the formation, rather than the lead aircraft. Flying in the last helicopter gives the commander a clear view of his entire company and offers him the opportunity to break out of his formation at any time without disrupting it. As the troops head for the LZ, each rehearses in his mind the action he must take as soon as he lands. The pilot has briefed them as to the direction the aircraft will be facing after touchdown. While the infantrymen are en route, the artillery begins its preparation fire on the LZ. If an artillery preparation is not employed, a forward air controller marks the LZ so that the Air Force can launch its pre-strike. Heliborne assaults in Vietnam have strengthened pre-strike doctrine. Where the probability of heavy enemy contact is imminent, a pre-strike or other heavy suppressive fires on and around the LZ is mandatory, beginning 15 to 30 minutes prior to the actual assault. The Vietnam conflict has also strengthened the doctrine that the pre-strike by Army gunships should blend in with the last bomb dropped by the Air Force, thus giving the enemy no let-up and pinning him down during the assault landing. The assault ships and their gun escorts near the LZ. Now teamwork between the door gunners and the pilots and co-pilots reaches the payoff stage. The door gunners and crew chiefs have much better visibility and are therefore in a better position to see and locate enemy fire. Anytime their aircraft is fired upon, it is up to one of them to drop a smoke grenade to mark the target. In addition, they must be able to locate and describe targets to the pilots with pinpoint accuracy. And it is up to them to place suppressive fires on enemy positions until gunship firing runs can be made. Another technique door gunners in Vietnam must observe is conservation of ammunition. They must conserve enough ammo to provide covering fire in the area of the LZ. The UH-1Bs approach the LZ and land. The infantrymen offload, ready to fight the moment the aircraft hit the ground. They move out quickly, as troop loading techniques prove their value during offloading. Many heliborne units have come under enemy small arms and mortar fire while offloading. Thus, another lesson learned the hard way is that every assault force must be ready to engage the enemy immediately upon landing with every type of weapon available. Prompt deployment is vital, and in the event of enemy resistance, all available fires must be laid down on the surrounding area to secure the LZ for additional helicopters.